This is big breaking news. Biden just signed an executive order, Executive Order 14111. This was just signed, and this executive order involves people like the director of the CIA, right? The director of Homeland Security, the director of CISA, the Cyber Security Infrastructure Security Agency, right? All these people are involved in this executive order that Biden just signed, and we need to be on high alert right now. We also have a top government official warning to stock up now. Stock up right now. Get prepared now. Stock up on your essentials in case of an emergency or in case of a major situation, a major attack on the US or NATO countries. All right, all this stuff's boiling over right now, and they're getting us ready for a big event. And we also need to be on high alert for a potential false flag event as well, because there could be bad state actors that exploit these heightened states of awareness right now, these heightened alerts, because there is stuff going on. There is a lot of background attacks going on constantly, all right? But there also could be people using the fog of this war as an excuse to launch their own attacks, all right? Bad state actors, deep state actors that want to present false flags and pass new laws and drag America further into new wars, all right? So we need to be on high alert right now. Biden just signed this executive order, and you should be ready for it. You should be out of these major cities. You need to be away from any type of government building or government facility, especially federal government facilities and federal government buildings right now are the main target, all right? And they're saying that they're on a heightened state of awareness for attacks on federal government buildings and federal government facilities. All right, that's what's going on right now. We could see a major attack on things like our treasury system or our Federal Reserve System. That is potentially in the cards right now, because we just had the Treasury as well. This is on top of this executive order that Biden just signed. We will show that in just a second. But also, the Treasury just issued these new sanctions over these major cyber attacks that have been targeting government officials and senior political officials. They've been targeted severely with these cyber attacks and these ransomware attacks. And the Treasury Department just sanctioned a bunch of foreign state actors, and they're saying that these specific attacks were coming out of Russia. All right, that's what the Treasury Department is saying. And this is along with the UK and Canada as well. They have issued a joint statement, the Five Eyes intelligence agencies, and they've issued joint sanctions against multiple people in Russia for these major cyber attacks. All right, so all this stuff is escalating, and Russia does have very high cyber capabilities. Iran has extreme cyber capabilities. China as well has their own cyber capabilities, and they've been unleashing them on the US and our critical infrastructure. And like I said, there's also fog of war. There could be bad state actors that we don't even really know about that are exploiting these broad attacks happening as well and slipping through the cracks, all right? So let's get into what's going on with this executive order that Biden just signed, and then we will cover this top government official that's wanting to stock up now. Quote, stock up right now. That's what's happening, and you need to be listening. All right, so this is the executive order that Biden signed. It is Executive Order 14111. All right, this was just signed in the past week and a half. Okay, but it just hit the news and it's just now being reported. And the order is to, quote, reinforce the importance of and strengthen the security of executive branch federal facilities in the face of both persistent and emerging threats. Okay, and there are a whole host of federal government agencies that are a part of this Department of the State Department of the Treasury, Department of Defense, Department of Justice, Department of Agriculture. Every federal agency is part of this, all the way down to the director of the CIA, the director of the United States Marshals, the director of the FBI, and the director of CISA as well are all on this board that was just created to deal with increased security threats to federal facilities and federal buildings. All right, so these attacks are going to increase, and I've been documenting over the past few years now all of these persistent attacks. It's constant and it doesn't stop. And if we see a major attack on a federal facility, that could be the green light for a major clampdown, right? For the DHS to really start clamping down, for more surveillance, for more potentially DHS troops on the streets, potentially National Guard on the streets. And we already just recently saw, a couple weeks ago, we saw a major cyber attack on the Automated Clearinghouse, which is a federal government service that clears the bank movement of money. All right, if you transfer money, if you get a direct deposit, and people were having the direct deposits delayed for weeks. All right, they had this notification on their banking systems for weeks, and that was due to a major cyber attack on the Automated Clearinghouse. All right, we also could see physical attacks as well happening very soon, all right, on U.S. soil. Let's get into this warning here that a top government official warned to stock up now, and he's saying to, quote, stock up on candles and flashlights and batteries, all right, because he's saying that there could be a major cyber attack and a major power outage as well. All right, so this was the Deputy Prime Minister of the UK that just came out and issued this warning, and he's saying that we could have a cyber blackout situation, and he's saying that you need to get stocked up on batteries, candles, flashlights, all these things. And does that sound familiar? If you've been listening to my videos, I know a lot of people say what I say, all right? That happens a lot, I've noticed. But if you've been listening to my videos for months, I've been telling you to get kerosene candle lamps. And I didn't just hear someone else say that. I grew up with kerosene candle lamps in my house, and we had hurricanes all the time, and the power would go out, and we would use these kerosene candle lamps. And my dad was super old school, and he was into all that stuff. All right, he liked that stuff. He had cobalt glass plates and all this stuff. He was into the old school glass stuff and glass lamps. All right, so I've been saying that for months now. The Deputy UK Prime Minister is coming out and saying that you need to get stocked up on candles and lamps and batteries and flashlights. All right, this is insane. This is insane. And the reason why this is so dangerous is because if they are able to take control of the electric grid, they could override these safety systems and overcharge the grid. All right, that's the biggest threat here, is if they get control of the electricity flow and the switches, then they can essentially overload the grid and damage the equipment. All right, they can cause surges, and this can even damage your own equipment. This can damage your own meter and even your own electronics. That's why they say when there's a big blackout to not have your stuff plugged in when they turn it back on, because there could be a surge. You've ever heard of a surge protector? I'm sure you have. All right, that's for like if you get struck by, your house gets struck by lightning or a transformer near your house. Once again, we had those all over our house because lived in Florida, lightning capital of the world, and the hurricanes were insane. So it also could cause major damage to all the electronics, not to mention the grid equipment and all the grid computers that monitor all the systems and all the energy flows on the grid. All right, so very dangerous situation that we are dealing with here, and things are escalating, and this is just going on in the background, and the average person just doesn't even really know what you're talking about. If you bring up a cyber attack, a ransomware attack, they honestly will look at you with a blank stare, and they will think you're talking some other language here, right? They really don't even understand the significance. In our society, everything is completely vulnerable to this because it's all become digitized. All right. And the big kahuna that they are getting us prepared for is that after the big one, all right, after there's a major attack, there's going to be a reset of the system, and there's going to be a new system that is implemented, a new financial system, a digital ID wallet, and potentially a central banking digital currency will emerge as well. That is what they are getting us ready for. And even the Treasury was saying that they are under persistent attacks. That was part of the reason why they're issuing these sanctions as well, because they're saying that the Treasury Department itself is under these attacks, right? What if the Federal Reserve is attacked? All this stuff could be compromised. We had the largest bank in the world that operates out of New York. They just had a massive cyber attack a couple weeks ago, and they were operating by US B sticks. All right, I broke that news the night it was happening, and this stuff could happen overnight. Overnight, we could see these systems taken offline. You could go to sleep, power's on, phone's on, internet's good, and overnight we could see systems taken offline. And even in your own personal life, okay, I've been seeing stories going around how these criminals in certain cities, they are now using cell phone jammers, so you cannot call the authorities when they are breaking into your home, okay? They have these antenna backpacks that are sending out high-powered radio signals, and if you are in the vicinity of it, it blocks your phone from connecting to the cell phone tower. All right, very dangerous stuff. And think of that on a larger scale, though. Think of that on a larger scale. These jammers could be set up on a large scale, and just personally alone, that is why you need to have self-defense and be able to defend yourself. Because if the communications do go out, if the power does go out, everyone is going to be calling. Everyone's going to try to use the little bit of signal that's left and be overwhelming the authorities, and they're not going to be able to respond either. And do you remember 6 months ago, 8 months ago, whenever that was, beginning of the year, where all the US senators were, or half of them, I guess, not all of them, but they were all offered satellite phones, and it was like 52 of them, I believe, accepted these sat phones issued from the government, and they were for a major communications blackout. Do you remember that? They were issued satellite phones because they know if stuff goes down, they're not going to be able to use their normal cell phone. If the power's out, the cell phone tower does not work if the power's cut off to it. All right, they do have backup generators, but those only last so long. All right, especially if the gas pumps are out as well. This could cause huge rippling effects, and it could take a long time for these things to get back online if there's a major attack. So please hit it up for me down there to help get this video out to more people. Biden just signed this executive order, and they're getting ready for big attacks on the US. All right, the Treasury Department just issued these sanctions. They issued a joint statement with Canada, the UK, the Five Eyes countries. All right, they all issued a joint statement. And we also have this UK Deputy Prime Minister saying to stock up on candles, right? Stock up on batteries, flashlights for a major blackout of the grid. All right, and in the UK over there, they have also implemented these emergency programs. That's what they're calling it, where when the grid is being overloaded, then they will force you to not use certain appliances, but they'll pay you for it. All right, so we are seeing voluntary things like this happen in the US. When the grid was overloaded in Texas a few months ago, they were sending text messages to people, please stop using it. In California, they were doing the same thing, but in the UK, it is now mandatory. All right, when they send you the alert, you have to turn it off, or you are subject to extreme fines, and you're going to get charged even more. But the way they social engineer it to make it, oh, this is a good thing for you, is that they pay you for it. So they say, hey, we'll give you $5 if you turn off your stove, if you don't cook dinner tonight and use your stove from 5 to 10 p.m. because there's going to be a grid load problem. All right, that's already happening in the UK right now, and it's being forced on people as well. So make sure you are stocked up. Make sure you have a generator. Make sure you have water tanks. All right. I've lived off my Champion generator for 3 years, off grid, on and off in my RV. All right. That thing has over 5,000 hours and it's still going. All right. I have a big 200-gallon water tank that I lived off of for years for water. Okay. This is the stuff that you need to survive just in case the power goes out and the systems that go out as well. We saw major cyber attacks on water systems all across the US the past week as well. I made a whole video on that. This stuff is happening, all right? And you need to have these tanks filled up so you are ready to go, because the point is to have these tanks filled so you can survive a week. You can go a week or two. You have power. You have enough gas to keep your fridge running for a week. You have enough water to at least wash your hands and wash some dishes for a week. Okay? Maybe clean yourself a little bit. This is the key. It's not the end all be all. Most of us, 99% of us, are not prepared for that. But you need to at least be prepared for a big event where things are down for a week or two. All right, that's what you need to be shooting for. So thank you guys so much. I hope you have big blessings in your life, for your family. All right, I hope you are getting prepared. We are going to be on our homestead. We're counting the days, just a couple weeks. We're counting the days, counting down. All right, I don't want to say exactly on here, but we are counting the days down. And as soon as we get on there, it's go time. It's time to grow food. I'm in the South. I can grow all winter. It's time to grow food. It's time to buckle down and be self-sufficient and be self-sustainable, because something's going to happen, right? And I don't want to be left out in the dust. I don't want my family left behind. We have tons of preps, tons of storage, but long term, if you are going to survive, if things really, we have a big EMP event, big war breaks out, a nuke's detonated in the atmosphere, an EMP wipes out the grid, there's a solar flare, overloads the grid, right? And it's damaged for a long time. That's how you're going to survive, is growing your own food and being self-sustainable and being able to grow these calories, all right? Converting sun, water, CO2 into food for you, all right? These are the skills you need to master right now. Try to grow a seed, try to pop some seeds, all right? That is one of the things that is very hard for people. A lot of people, they have big gardens, but they start from starts, all right? And I've even done that before. I've gotten starts before. There's nothing wrong with that. But if it's going down, those starts are going to be available. You can't go to Home Depot to get that. You're going to have to pop some seeds, and you might only have a limited amount of seeds, and you don't want to be wasting them, all right? So get these skills now, learn how to grow now, and get stocked up now before it's too late. The federal government is getting prepared. You need to get prepared. That's the point here, is we're watching them. We're seeing what they're doing, what they're getting prepared for. We're getting prepared for it too. All right, we're matching it. All right, you're prepared. We're prepared too. We're ready too. All right, so thank you guys so much. I hope you have big blessings for your life, your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.